My name is Rebecca Knotts. Today my speech is going to be on the importance of abstinence. According to publicmed.gov, the U.S. ranks first in rates of teen pregnancy and STDs, which is quite scary. Today I would like to share with you why I feel that abstinence is so important. As a mother with a teen daughter, and also as a person who had a baby when I was very young myself, I understand both sides of the spectrum. I understand what it feels like to be a teen and have curiosities and feel all grown up. But I also know, because I was a teen not long ago, that this doesn't always make things easy. Not to sound cliche, but had I known then what I know now, my life would be a little different. Being young when I had my first daughter, I had a big chunk of my life taken. I was exposed to the real world at a very young age. Life was very hard, and I vowed to not let this happen to my daughters. I vowed to do whatever I can to be involved and to educate them so that this wouldn't happen to them, so that life could be a little easier. Sex is not supposed to be a dirty thing. It's a natural thing. It's done for recreation and procreation. But the problem is teenagers are too young to deal with the consequences that accompany sex. For many people who have become sexually active, they lose focus on school. They go through a major emotional stress that they're not ready to deal with, getting pregnant, catching STDs, and the consequences that come along with those things as well. Caring for the baby if you do get pregnant, dealing with STDs that will stay with you for the rest of your life, not having the financial support to deal with these things for medical reasons if you had to have the baby. Teens receive a lot of information from their peers, unfortunately, and most times this information is inaccurate. It's information that they've heard from other peers or things that have gotten so mixed up and made up in the process. We as parents need to educate our children. This is one of the biggest things that we need to do. We need to be accepting of our natural feelings and open up the lines of communications with our teens. They need to learn the consequences of sex and the importance of abstinence. These teens need to learn how to respect themselves and value their self-worth as well. When teens decide to engage in sex and are not properly educated, or at times not mature enough to even listen to the education that they receive, this is when teenage pregnancies occurs and STDs and emotional breakdowns that come along with these decisions that come along with being sexually active. According to the Office of Adolescent Health in 2012, there were 420 babies born to mothers between the ages of 15 and 19. 1 in 5 of these mothers, this was not their first birth. Most teenage pregnancies are unplanned and are at bigger increase for problems. The biggest risk of being delayed prenatal care because they don't have access or because they don't know. Other risk factors are their substance abuse of cigarettes and alcohol, premature low birth weight babies that accompany bigger problems such as brain damage. I interviewed a few teens, and one of the questions I asked them was, what did your parents tell you about sex? These were teens, of course, in my family. I had their parents' permission to ask them. But I did ask, what do you know about sex and what did your parents tell you? Unfortunately, 75% of these teens said nothing. Their parents either didn't feel that they were ready to talk about it or didn't go into it with detail with them. I don't know if it's because I'm a nurse or because I'm just really open with my daughters, but I discuss things with them. We discuss our bodies just as we would our private parts, just as well as we would our fingers and toes. It's just a natural part of our body, and we discuss sex and things that go along with this. I feel that when you keep the lines of communication open and you're the one to educate your child, you have a better chance of getting across to them. I think parents should be clear about their own values and attitudes. They should talk with their children early and often. They should supervise and monitor where their children are at all times. I know that sometimes teens feel that they're getting big enough to not have to tell their parents when they'll be home or what time or who they're with. Not in my household. I want to know who you're with, when you're with them, where you're with them at, when you're coming home. And I even lie and say I'm going to sneak up on you when you're there. Whatever works. Another thing is we need to discourage early and frequent steady dating at a young age. When teenagers start becoming very steady with a person, they tend to fall in love, so they think. These bring on more feelings of sex, and they feel like, well, I'm in love, so why not try it? This leads to bigger problems, and your kids are not always open enough to talk to you about them, so we have to ask. Let's face it, kids are going to do what they want. I'm not going to be naive and think that they're not. But I want to educate them, and I think we should all educate them so that way when they are brought into these positions, they know what to do. Thank you.